9월에도 돌아온 한국어 영어 팟캐스트 하프앤하프의 정태용입니다. 반갑습니다.
And I'm Katrina, and you are listening to Half and Half.
네, 9월에도 매주 하긴 하는데 9월에 돌아온 카트리나와의 하프앤하프입니다.
It's nice to be back.
네네. 그리고 여기 옆에 있는 카트리나님은 천재예요, 천재.
No, that's not right.
지난달부터 올라가는 한국어 영어 자막을 옆에 카트리나가 만들어줬어요.
Yeah, that's true.
네.
So how did this come about? Why do we have subtitles even though we don't have enough viewers to have like ad income?
그렇네요. 생각해 보니까.
Yeah. So when I was watching the last episode, a few episodes ago,
네.
you and Jeep were discussing how people were asking for subtitles and how you really would want to add subtitles, but you had tried using the automated tools and they had just failed. Like it was just kind of terrible. It got very confused because it was English and then Korean and then English and then Korean.
그 AI 프로그램이 헷갈려 해서
Yeah.
못한단 말이었죠. 맞아요.
Yeah, that's what I understood from it anyway.
맞아요.
And so I was lying in bed that night thinking, this seems like it should be possible to solve with just a little bit of programming. And so the next morning I got up and I was like, okay, first of all, how do we get AI to tell me like when different people are speaking? And it turns out there's a tool that can recognize based on your voice characteristics, like what your voice sounds like. It'll say speaker 00 from this timestamp to this timestamp, speaker 01 from this timestamp to this timestamp. And so it'll make a timeline of who is speaking when, all the timestamps. So I did that, and I can do it locally. Like this is something that I don't have to go and pay some tool to do. I can download all the software and do it locally. Wow. So then I was like, okay, but I know that it's possible to take an audio clip and say, just cut it from this timestamp to this timestamp. Make me a short clip.
네.
And so I used that timeline of speaker 1 is doing this, speaker 2 is doing this, and said, okay, now make me very short audio clips where just one speaker is speaking.
네, 그러면은 좀 다른 두 개의 AI 프로그램을 같이 사용하는 느낌이네요, 좀.
Right. So the first one is actually AI to recognize, is this a different person speaking? That's actually AI.
네.
But the tool to cut the audio is just normal programming. It's a programming that says, here's an audio file, give me a shorter audio file, and it should start at this timestamp and stop at this timestamp. And so it's not complicated at all. But then the next step was, what language are they speaking?
그렇죠.
Right? And so for that, I was like, okay, I can just give a different AI. So this is a different AI then that can recognize which language someone is speaking. And so I was like, I'll just take one of those clips and send it to that AI and ask, what language do you think this is?
네.
And it was really bad. It didn't work very well because the clips were too short. So then I was like, okay, I can have find a place where someone is speaking for 30 to 60 seconds in a row using the timeline. And so it's like, okay, timeline, speaker 1 is speaking, and then speaker 1 is speaking again, and speaker 1 is speaking again. And if it's 30 seconds, between 30 and 60 seconds, then I can ask that AI, is this English? Or like, what language is this? And it'll say, I'm 90% confident that this is English. Or I'm, 87% confident that this is Korean. So then I know that speaker 00 is going to be English and speaker 01 is going to be Korean.
네.
So now I can take the timeline and I can say, okay, this clip that goes from there to there, send it to the transcription tool and tell it to use Korean. And then I can take the next clip and say, this is speaker 2, so this is going to be English. Transcribe it, but this time use English.
네네. 제가 아까 그 AI를 두 개 쓰는 것 같네요라고 얘기했던 게 그 한국어인지 영어인지 파악하는 걸 자를 때 하는 줄 알았는데
Right.
그게 아니네요.
Right. That's exactly.
그냥 일단 다 자르고 보고.
Yeah. And then
그렇구나.
so there's one tool that says who is speaking when. Like, give me the timeline of who is speaking when. And then there's a different tool that knows how to recognize languages and transcribe languages. So if you're saying something in Korean, it will transcribe it in Korean.
그렇구나.
Yeah, so that's a different tool, AI tool.
와. 네, 참, 야, 씨. 참, 이렇게, 참, 20년 차 개발자와, 그리고 포탈 개발자와 함께하는 하프앤하프입니다. 네, 정작 호스트인 저는 아무것도 몰라요.
Oh boy.
아무튼, 그래서, 뭐, 완벽하진 않지만, 한국어, 영어 자막과 함께하는 하프앤하프. 이번 시간의 주제는 굉장히 수준 높은 주제예요. 카트리나가 골랐죠?
I don't know if I picked it or you picked it. We've talked about it several times and we both have suggested it, I think, at different times as a good topic. Anyway, the
그래요?
topic is habits.
네, 습관입니다.
Yeah. So what I was thinking was it would be interesting to explore how there are a couple of different ways, or actually many different ways in which people approach habits differently. And I'm wondering if we could talk about habits in the context of our different cultures. Like, what about our culture makes habits easier to form or harder to form? Or what are some specific habits that are maybe more common in one of our cultures than another? Something like that. And then also at the individual level, there are a lot of different ways in which habits, like people think about habits, how they approach them, how they feel about them. So I think
네,
it's a big topic that we can enjoy.
네, 그렇게 습관에 대해서 엄청 깊게 얘기를 해보려고 하는데, 근데 사실 저는 질문들을 가지고 생각해보면서 되게 어려웠거든요.
Yeah. It is a bit
습관이 문화에 영향을 받기도 하나? 그런 생각을 했어요.
Yeah. Did you think of any examples?
사실 많이 못했는데 카트리나의 경우를 들어보면서 생각하려고요.
Yeah. So what comes to
한국의
mind?
경우는 어떻지? 이렇게.
Yeah. I mean,
네네.
I definitely have some ideas.
네.
There's one thing that came to mind in particular, and that is that it seems like in Korea, there are not a lot of people who drink alcohol and then drive. So drunk driving doesn't seem to be very common in Korea.
아니, 그런 의미였어요?
Drunk driving? Yeah. It's when you-
아니, 그러니까 그 문화와 습관을 얘기할 때 그게 거기서 말하는 그 습관 중에 하나가 음주운전일 수도 있다는 거예요?
I think of it as a habit. Like in other cultures, there's people will drink and then not even think about it. They'll go and they'll go and drive. And so it's a habit. They don't really think about whether or not they should drive after having drinking. Yeah.
와, 아니 제 생각보다 훨씬 더 광범위한 거였네요. 그러면.
Oh, yeah.
아니 왜냐면 한국에서 음주운전은 범죄거든요. 범죄.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's illegal in a lot of countries. It's illegal in the US, it's illegal in Thailand, but in Thailand it's illegal in the Middle East, but people still do it a lot.
그렇죠. 많이 하긴
Right.
하죠.
And so I'm thinking, like, what makes it such, like, in Korea, why do people not have this habit of drinking and driving? Like, looking aside from the fact that it's just totally illegal, because it's illegal in other places, but people have the habit of still doing it. And so I'm curious, like, what are the factors that might play into that?
야, 좋은 포인트다. 저는 생각도 못했는데, 되게 좋은 궁금증 같아요.
So what comes to mind about Korean culture that might influence the fact of, I mean, I guess following the law or just not doing that thing?
그 음주운전을 예로 들면, 뭐 저희 개인적인 생각입니다만, 제일 먼저 생각나는 건 음주운전이 진짜 나쁜 짓으로 사회적으로 받아들여요.
Right.
네, 그 음주운전하면 자기만 해치는 게 아니라 다른 사람도 죽일 수 있다.
Exactly.
저건 도로 위에 살인자다 이렇게 막 좀 대부분이 생각을 하고 그렇게 얘기를 해요.
Right.
그리고 또 두 번째로 드는 생각은 술을 먹고 나서 꼭 운전을 안 해도 되는 환경이 잘 되어 있는 것 같아요.
So tell me more about that.
네, 예를 들면 아니 뭐 대중교통 잘 돼 있고 한국은 대부분.
Right.
그리고 밤에 밤늦게 택시도 많고.
Right.
그리고 또 내가 차를 가지고 나왔는데 술을 마셨다 하는 경우에는
Right.
그 대리운전 알아요?
I do from dramas actually. But it's definitely a unique thing to Korean culture. Like we do not have this in Norway at all.
그렇구나.
Yeah.
네. 대리운전이 잘 돼 있고 또 사람들이 많이 이용을 해서
Yeah.
그냥 뭐 대리 부르면 되는 거예요. 그러니까 어쩔 수 없이 운전을 했어. 내가 술을 마셨지만 어쩔 수 없이 집에 가야 되니까
Right.
운전을 했어. 이런 변명을 할 수가 없어요.
Right. Yeah, exactly. These are all really good reasons. Like they make it very easy to do the right thing.
네.
Right? Because there are so many taxis, because there's so much public transport, and because you have these drivers who will come and drive you home in your own car. They make it really, really easy to do the right thing, and they make it hard to do the wrong thing. And so it's easy to imagine in a place where it's still illegal, but they don't have good public transport. Like most of the U.S. doesn't have good public transport. There might not be as many taxis, and there's nobody who's going to come and drive you home in your own car. And so it's way more common to drink and drive in the U.S.
그렇구나.
Yeah.
제가 아까 이 얘기하기 전에 이 습관이랑 문화를 연결시키기가 어려웠다고 얘기한 이유가 그 습관, 제가 생각한 습관의 그 범위가 되게 좁았던 것 같아요.
Oh, interesting.
그러니까
So what kind of things were you thinking of?
음주운전이 습관인가? 잘 모르겠거든요.
Yeah.
그 제가 기껏해야 생각해낸 건 다리 떨기?
What's that?
다리 이렇게 앉아서 막 다리를 막 달달달달 막 떠는 거예요.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. Or biting your nails or that kind of thing.
이런 거. 네, 그 정도나 아니면 무심코 핸드폰 열어서 SNS
Right.
보기 뭐 이 정도 생각했는데
Yeah.
그래서 다리 떨기는 한국에서 굉장히 그 좀 산만하고 좀 예절 없는 것처럼 보이는 경우가 있어서 많이 못하게 해요, 어릴 때.
Right.
그 사실은 다리 떨기가 몸에 좋다고 하던데 근데 보기에 안 좋아서 대체로 많이 안 해요.
Right. And so is this more like the culture, like people, how should I ask this? Is there something in the Korean culture that makes it more likely for people to want to follow, like want to not do a thing that many other people think is bad?
네.
Right.
다리 떨면 막 주위에서 막 이상하게 보고
Yeah.
저 왜 저러지? 막 이러기도 하고
Yeah.
뭐 문제 있는 것처럼 봐서
Right.
그래서 많이 하면 안 된다고 생각해요.
Right. Because I'm thinking about my dad, who's American. So my mom is Norwegian, my dad's American. My dad, like, he wouldn't care if society looked at what he was doing and said, "Oh, that's a bad thing." It's like, "Oh, you can't tell me what to do." So if he wants to do it, he would just do it. He wouldn't. I don't think he would accept that external sort of peer pressure to change his behavior.
미국인들은 그런 사람들이 많은 편이에요?
I feel like that might be the case more than in Korea.
한국은 적어요. 그런 사람들이.
Right, that's true as well. A
네.
lot more people in the US.
네.
Yeah. But in Norway as well, like Norway has very few people, very few inhabitants. I think it's like 5 million, 5.5 million. So Korea has like 10 times as many people as Norway. And in Norway, people are a little bit more likely to, I think, be more individualistic about it. Like, society says it's bad, but I don't know. I feel like I can do it anyway. Maybe
그렇구나.
a little bit.
한국은 오래된 공동체 사회라 그런가.
Right.
네, 주의 의식을 좀 많이 하죠.
Yeah. I mean, Norway does have a big sense, or Norwegians have a fairly strong sense of needing to conform, needing to be much like other people. But I feel like mostly that's about not trying to seem better than other people.
그게 무슨 말이에요?
Yeah, so in America, you can say, "Oh, I'm the best whatever. I'm the best guitar player
네.
in the world." And everybody will be like, "Yay, you're the best."
네.
But in Norway, if you tried to say, "Oh, I'm the best anything," Norwegians would be like, "Oh, yeah, no, that's not cool. You can't just say that you're good at something, good or better than other people in any way."
그렇구나. 스웨덴도 비슷하죠.
Denmark as
그쪽이
well.
다 비슷한가요?
Yeah, it's the
북유럽이
same.
그렇구나.
Yeah, there's a name for it. I can't remember what it is. Janteloven, the law of Jante.
염따요?
Jante is the name of a person, I guess. I should probably have looked this up, but there's the law of Jante is this idea that you shouldn't say or act in a way that suggests that you think that you're better than other people.
그렇구나. 그런 겸손함의 문화가 있었네요.
Oh, this is pretty strong in the culture. But on the other side,
와우.
people are still quite individualistic. Like it's totally fine to be different from other people as long as you're not trying to say you're better than them.
근데 그런 잘하고 못하고의 문제랑 그 이런 거 하면 남들이 이상하게 보니까 하면 안 돼라는 건 좀 다른 뉘앙스잖아요.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
근데 노르웨이는 좀 신경 안 쓰는 편인가요?
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah, you can be different. You can not follow the norms as long as you're not suggesting that you're better than anyone else.
좋습니다.
Yeah.
그렇게 문화와 습관을 연결시킬 수 있구나.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was just one of the things that so Norway also has very strong habits around people almost don't drink and drive in Norway. And it's
네.
partly because, I mean, it's not just illegal, but if you do it, if they catch you, you get punished very, very severely. So if you drink one beer and then you have a punctured tire,
네.
and so you have to call like the people to come and tow your car somewhere or whatever.
와.
Then they'll probably test you. And if they notice that you've had a beer, if the test suggests that you've had a beer, they're going to call the police and you're going to
네.
get probably 2 or 3 months of jail time. And you're going to
감옥에-
pay,
네.
and you're going to pay a 60,000 kroner fine. So $6,000 probably. I mean, it depends on how much you earn. There's a certain
네.
percentage based on your salary, but you're going to pay a huge, huge fine. And depending on how bad it is, you'll lose your license. So you might not be able to drive for 6 months, or if it's pretty severe, 10 years. And so people around you who have lost their license, like because there's this, the punishment is so severe, people are like, it's just not worth it. I would rather just not drive.
네.
I'll call a taxi.
와, 놀랍네요. 놀라워.
Yeah, it's pretty extreme.
와, 일단 전 놀란 포인트가 두 개인데,
Okay.
일단 첫째로 당연히 술 마시고 운전하면 그렇게 큰 처벌을 받는다는 게 놀랍고, 한국은 안 그러거든요.
So how would you be punished if you got caught for drinking and driving in Korea?
그게 아마 그 거기는 그 원 스트라이크 아웃이잖아요.
Right.
근데 한국은 아마 아닐 거예요. 제가 운전을 하지는 않아서 모르겠는데,
Right.
뭐 한 번 걸리면 뭐 벌금 내고 경고 기간인가?
Oh, okay.
근데 또 만약에 그 안에 또 하면
Right.
그러면 뭐 면허가 취소되던가. 그리고 그걸로 감옥에 가지는 않을 거예요. 제가
Okay.
알기론.
Yeah.
근데 노르웨이는 그렇게 감옥도 가고 벌금도 낸다고 했잖아요.
Yep.
근데 또 거기서 하나 놀란 건 또 놀란 건 자기가 버는 돈의 양에 따라 벌금이 달라요?
Yeah. It's like percentage of how much you earn.
근데 그거 좋은 것 같아요.
Yeah, it is really good. I mean, it works, right? Very few people drink and drive in Norway because it's just not worth it.
한국은 왜 안 그러지?
Well, I mean, the thing is, in Korea, you have cheap, affordable taxis. You have really good public transportation, and you have these drivers who will come and drive your own car. So I think you just don't need it as much. Whereas in Norway, in the cities, you'll have pretty good public transportation, but taxis are very, very expensive. And if you're outside of the city, there won't be any public transportation. There will not be any taxis, and nobody's going to come drive you home.
제가 왜 한국은 왜 안 그러지라고 얘기했던 이유가 한국은 음주운전을 안 해도 다니기 더 쉽잖아요.
Right.
그러니까 음주운전에 대한 변명이 더 없잖아요.
Right.
그럴수록 음주운전을 그럼에도 불구하고 하는 건 진짜 안 좋은 선택이라는 거죠.
Yeah.
그러면 그만큼 그 안 좋은 선택에 대한 처벌이 강력해야 하는데
Yeah.
근데 엄청 선방망이라고 하는 그 약한 처벌을 내려요.
Yeah. But like if they don't have to punish people more harshly because it already works, then I think that makes sense.
그런가?
Yeah. Because you were also saying that the way that society looks at people who drink and drive is incredibly fierce. Like, oh, you're a murderer,
네.
on the streets. And whereas in other places I've been where a lot of people drink and drive, people are like, oh, it happens. Everybody drinks and drives. They don't have this really strong negative view from society.
그래도 근절해야 돼요. 근절해야 돼. 아무도 하면 안 돼요. 근데 한국이 물론 다른 나라의 어떤 나라들에 비해서는 그 음주운전 비율이 낮을 수 있는데 그래도 부족하다 생각합니다. 저는.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even
절대 하면 안 된다고.
Yeah. Exactly. Zero would be great. Like 0 people driving drunk would be better.
네.
Always.
근데 이거 이번 습관 에피소드인데 너무 음주운전
Yeah.
이야기만 한 20분 해서
Oh my gosh.
다음으로 넘어가죠 빨리.
Yeah. All right. So,
네.
are there any other aspects of what else have you been thinking about in terms of habits?
그 카트리나가 보내준 그 질문들 중에 그 어떤 습관은 다른 습관을 부른다고 해야 하나?
Yeah.
네, 한 습관이 생기면 또 다른 습관이 거기 맞춰서 생기고
Right.
그런 게 있다고 했잖아요.
Yeah. And sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes you make a new habit and then that's it. You have a new habit, but nothing else changes, right?
맞아요.
Yeah. Do you have any examples from your own life?
저는 예전에도 얘기했던 것 같은데 아침에 달리기 한다고 했잖아요.
Yeah, when did you start doing this?
그건 몇 년 됐어요, 사실.
Okay, cool.
좀 복잡한데 몇 년 전에 해서 꾸준히 달리다가 방글라데시 가서 1년간 거의 달리기를 못하고
Right.
그리고 또 한국에 돌아와서 또 한 6, 7개월간 매일 뛰었다가 또 코로나 걸려서 아픈 이후로 또 한참 안 뛰었다가 그렇긴 했는데
Right, yeah.
근데 제 생각엔 습관이 되었다고 말할 정도는 된 것 같아요.
Right.
물론 매일 뛰지는 않지만
No. I mean, it doesn't have to be every day.
그렇죠.
Right? Yeah.
그런데 항상 아침에 알람 설정을 해두거든요. 그러면은 그 알람도 그냥 노래나 띵동 이런 음이 아니고 그거 알아요? 그 Wim Hof breathing method 알아요?
I've heard of this, but I've never tried it. Yeah. It's very like it's very intense, right? And you change your
맞아요.
internal body temperature and it change your brain. Like it's
오, 정확히 아네요?
no, I just heard of it, but I haven't.
맞아요.
Yeah. Look into it.
그 윈 호프 호흡 메소드 10분 그 루틴을
Oh wow.
그거를 알람음으로 해놔요.
So what happened first? Did you start running first or did you do the Wim Hof breathing first?
브리딩 그 숨쉬기 운동을 먼저 그게 알람이니까
Yeah.
잠에서 딱 깨면서 알람이 들리면 그거 맞춰서 누워서 10분 하고
Oh, but I mean like when you decided to start running. Were you already doing the breathing or did that come later?
그 호흡이 먼저였던 것 같아요.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
네.
And what led you to start doing the breathing exercises in the morning?
제가 전에 유튜브에서 그걸 우연히 봤는데 그게 비염을 좀 개선시켜 준다고 하는 거예요.
What does that mean?
비염 막 코가 막히고
Oh, really?
막
Yeah.
콧물 안에 있고
Yeah.
근데 그걸 하면 뭐 막 여러 가지 좋은 효과가 있는데 그 중에 비염이 개선이 된다.
Uh-huh.
그래서 해봤거든요.
Okay, because you were already, this was like, you were struggling with having trouble breathing
네.
in general. Was it like always, or was it certain times of the year, certain times of day? Like when, how bad of a problem was this for you?
오, 거의 항상이요.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
1년 내내.
Wow. Yeah, so it
항상
makes
코가
sense
막힌.
that if
네.
you see a video that says, oh, this is going to fix it, it's totally worth trying, right?
네. 아 근데 뭐 그거 말고도 그 영상에서 막 다른 여러 가지 좋은 점을 해줬어요.
Yeah.
그래서 이제 거기 혹해서 나도 해볼까 했는데,
Yeah.
나쁘지 않은 거예요.
Yeah. And so how long did you do it before noticing an improvement?
그때 제 삶에서 그 비염 말고도 여러 가지를 개선하기 위해 열심히 살던 때라 그리고 딱 그거에 진짜 막 하나하나 다 안 세보고 그냥 열심히 살던 때라
Right.
정확히 기억은 안 나요. 그게 얼마나 걸렸는지는.
Right.
근데 글쎄요. 한 3, 4개월
Okay. Yeah.
정도
So
걸렸던 것 같아요.
it's still a long time in the sense that if you, it's not like, oh, in 3 days it's now perfect, and so I'm always going to do this the rest of my life. Right. Yeah.
네,
took
오래
a while.
걸렸죠.
Yeah.
근데 그런 막 뭐 숨쉬기 운동 이런 게
Right.
솔직히 진짜 운동보다는 안 어렵잖아요.
Oh.
별거 아니잖아요, 사실.
Really?
네, 그래서 꾸준히 할 수 있었던 것 같아요.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
쉬워서. 네.
And so what led you to then try to start running?
달리기는 솔직히 기억이 안 나요.
Yeah.
왜 시작했는지.
Yeah.
그냥 좀 막 뭐 스포츠 영화나
Right.
막 무슨 청춘 뭐 만화 이런 거 보면 막 주인공이 막 머리가 복잡할 때 막 밤에 막 나가서 막 달리고 오잖아요.
Right.
저도 그런 게 필요했어요.
See, that's really interesting to me because this is like two cases where in the first case with the breathing, you had a very specific problem that
네.
you thought, oh, maybe that's going to help with this. And so you started
네.
doing it and over time it helps. And so that clearly would make it easier to keep the habit because it's helping. And here as well is like, oh, running seems to help, like at least in the comic books or the dramas or whatever,
네.
when the main character is having, trouble working out some problem at work or relationships or whatever, that running
네.
gives them some sort of relief. I want that as well. That's a really good, it's a really good type of motivation, I think, because if it works, then you'll keep doing it more likely.
네.
But
네.
if it doesn't work, you're probably going to stop running at that point.
근데 약간 다른 부분이 있습니다. 제가 얘기한 거엔.
Okay.
그거 핵심은 뭐냐면은요.
Right.
물론 그 러닝을 시작할 때 예, 지금은 또 달라요.
Right.
그 시작할 때 느낌의 핵심은 뭐였냐면 아 진짜 뛰고 오니 생각이 정리되네. 아 막 정신이 맑아지네가 아니라
Uh-huh.
나도 주인공이 된 것 같은
I love it. Okay.
그 느낌.
Yeah.
아 자신에게 취한다.
I love it. Yeah.
그
Okay.
느낌, 그 느낌이요, 그 느낌. 네.
Okay, so that's super interesting. And did it work? Did you become?
네, 네,
Yeah.
네.
Did you feel
그리고
more like a main character in a show?
그럼요.
Awesome. Yeah.
네, 그렇게 딱 그리고 가끔씩 그렇게 뛰고 좀 오래 뛰었다. 그리고 좀 빨리 뛰었다.
Right.
그러면은 그 막 그 나이키 런 막 애플리케이션 그런 거 기록 뜨잖아요.
Uh-huh.
그럼 이제 그런 거 딱 사진 딱 찍어서 그 SNS에 올리고 하면은 아씨 다음에 또 잘 뛰어야지 이렇게.
Right. Oh, that's cool. Because I don't
네.
run at all. Like I find it difficult to even go out the door and walk. Like if I don't have to leave the house, I'm gonna stay at home for weeks
네.
and weeks and weeks on end. I just don't like leaving the house.
네, 전 이해할 수 있어요. 저는.
Yeah.
네, 저도 그랬기 때문에
Yeah.
지금도 그렇고 사실.
Yeah. I wish
네.
I wanted to run. Like or even just go out and go for walks. I wish I wanted to. Like I feel like I should want to. But I haven't figured out how to want to.
오, 지금 근데 우리가 무슨 얘기하다가 여기까지 왔죠? 아침 달리기 하는 습관.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
네네. 근데 아까 카트리나가 얘기했던 그 달리기를 좋아했으면 좋겠다.
Right.
라고 얘기한 거 제가 얘기하려고 생각했던 주제라서.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
그거 좀 이따가
Yeah,
돌아와서 합시다.
let's shelve it for now and bring it back.
네, 네. 아무튼 그래서 그 아침에 알람음으로 눈을 떠서 그 호흡 그 루틴을 하면 딱 일어나서 침대 정리를 하고
Mm-hmm.
그리고
Do you always make
냉장고에서
your bed? Just sorry. Do you always make your bed, or is that sorry? Is that something that you sometimes do and sometimes don't do?
얘기할 거에 나와요.
Oh, okay.
네네. 그래서 그 침대를 정리하고 그 냉장고에서 요거트 요만한 거 꺼내서 요거트 먹고
Mm-hmm.
그리고 뭐 화장실 쓸 거 쓰고 밖에 나가서 뛰고 오거든요.
Yeah.
근데 뭐 전날 좀 늦게 잤다.
Right.
아니면 뭐 너무 피곤해서 알람을 못 들었다.
Mm.
그런 경우에는 그래도 나가서 뛸 수 있잖아요. 그
Right.
호흡법이나 요거트를 안 해도.
Yeah.
근데 그냥 다 안 해요.
Oh yeah. It's everything or nothing, all or nothing.
네. 네. 그리고 그때는 침대 정리도 거의 안 해요.
That is super interesting. So it's not just that you have all these morning habits, it's that they're connected. One
네.
habit leads to the other, that leads to the other, that leads to the next one.
네.
Oh, interesting.
네, 그러니까 그 첫 번째, 두 번째, 세 번째 이게 다 연결돼 있는데
Yeah.
그 첫 번째가 제대로 수행이 되지 않으면 나머지도 다 안 될 확률이 높은 거예요.
Right. Oh, super
썩
interesting.
좋지는 않은 것 같은데.
Yeah.
네.
Yeah. So the way that I was thinking about that question is more that sometimes it's not necessarily that I think about habits as being connected where one habit leads to the next one, like in time. Like if you do this one, then automatically you do the next one and the next one and the next one. The way I was thinking about this question was sometimes I'll change something, like I'll add a habit or change something about my life. And then because I'm doing that, now I'm inspired to change something else and something else. And it won't necessarily be at the same time. So I'm trying to think of a good example.
네, 예를 들면
In the morning, I study Korean every day. Actually, I think there might, in the last 6 months, there might have been 2 days where I didn't
네.
get up and immediately just study Korean. But the thing is, at the start, I didn't do it every day. At the start, I did it some days. But the thing was, it felt so good. Like I would get up in the morning before everyone else. I'd have the house to myself. It's quiet. And then I read and look up, do my study routine. And then everybody else, or like the other people in the house, wake up and everything is, noisy, and we talk and we have other things to do. And so my study session is over basically by then.
네, 그렇죠.
But if I was up late the night before and I don't get up and study and wake up
네.
at the same time as everybody else, now I felt like I got cheated out of my study session. Like I felt like it was almost unfair that I didn't get this nice, quiet morning study session.
다시 한 번만 얘기해 줄래요?
Yeah, so in the beginning, sometimes I would study in the morning and it would be it would feel really nice. But sometimes I would I don't know, binge watch a drama the night before on Netflix, and I'd be so tired and I would just kind of sleep in. And so I would get up at the same time as my husband, for example. And then because we get up and we're just getting ready for the day and talking, and he's having his coffee and whatever, then I don't do my study routine.
네.
And at that point, I felt like it was kind of sad. I felt like I was missing something that was really nice. It felt almost a little bit unfair that, I didn't get my nice study session because now I just got up at the same time as everybody else. So I started thinking, well, why didn't I go to bed at a reasonable time so that I could wake up early? I was like, I was binge watching Netflix. Okay, well, what can I do so that I don't binge watch Netflix? And so I started experimenting. What are the things that make it easy to binge watch Netflix, and what are the things that make it harder to binge watch Netflix? And now I almost never binge watch Netflix. Like I found a little mechanism that made it easy for me to stop at the end of an episode.
네.
Yeah. And so I now have the habit of getting up in the morning, but because I really like getting up in the morning, I added the habit of how to not binge watch Netflix. And then another thing during my morning session, like the way that I study is I read a novel in Korean, and then I ask AI to explain words to me that I don't understand, but it explains in Korean. So while I'm waiting for AI to generate the explanation, there's nothing to do. And so I kept getting distracted. And so in the beginning, I was like, check, social media, check my emails, whatever. And then, it would be hard to be focused because I would get distracted by my own self, like while I was waiting. And so I found a habit that helped, two habits that I added that helped me stay focused. And the first one was, I have something by my chair so that I can take a sip. So I kick off the AI request. And then while I'm waiting for that, I take a sip. And so this drinking water, usually I feel like drinking water is super annoying because I feel like I'm having to micromanage. I'm being interrupted.
물을 마시는 게요?
Yeah. So I almost never drink water. Or like before, I almost never drank water. I would go the whole day without drinking water. And then I'd be super, super thirsty and drink like a whole liter. And then go to bed and have to wake up 4 times to go pee during the night. Like, it's not very good. But I kept struggling to figure out how do I drink more water during the day so I don't drink it right before I go to bed and have to get up all night.
네.
But I combined this with like when I'm actually waiting for the AI, I can take a sip and it's not annoying. I don't feel like I'm interrupting myself. And so I'm now drinking a liter of water in the morning as I'm studying, which helps for, just drinking enough water in the day. But the other thing is it gives me something to do so that I'm not automatically checking my email.
네.
Right. And so that little habit has added, because of my morning study routine, that was a habit that I ended up adding.
네.
And then another thing, like during my studying, I'm very bad at reading Korean. I'm so slow that it's like, it's embarrassingly slow. So what I do is when I read the book, I get AI to read it to me. Like I use text to speech because I'm just too slow at reading myself.
네.
But while I'm waiting for the AI to generate the explanation for a word I don't know, I'll actually read it without the sound, without the audio. And so I'm giving myself something to do so that I don't go and get distracted and check my email. And because I'm so slow at reading, I won't even have finished the sentence by the time the explanation comes back. So it's like, it's not that one habit starts the next one and triggers the next one and triggers the one after that. It's more that because I really like this morning study routine, I started
네.
thinking of ways to make that study routine better. Like, how can I wake up and be more refreshed? How can I be more focused during my routine? And so all these other little habits happened because of the study routine, but they're not necessarily directly connected to it.
근데 그게 다 카트리나가 의도적으로 그 새로운 습관을 만들려고 해서 만든 거네요.
Yeah, I did all of those on purpose. And that's actually a really good question, because there are habits that you do on purpose, and then there are other habits that suddenly you realize that you have this new habit and you don't necessarily know where it came from, right? It doesn't happen
네.
on purpose.
그렇죠.
Yeah.
그리고 보통 그런 자동으로 생기는 습관들은 좀 안 좋은 경우가
Yeah.
많은 것 같아요.
Every time I take the bus to see my mom so it's a 12-hour bus ride, and in the middle of the day there's a 30-minute break, I always go buy an ice cream and eat ice cream. It's like, why am I eating ice cream?
아,
It's
그래요?
like, but I just always do it. And it just happened. I just once I bought ice cream, it was really nice. Then the next time I had the same stop, I was like, oh, I could have an ice cream. And then now suddenly it's a habit.
아, 그렇구나.
Right?
아, 저는 요새 한창 그 프로그래밍 공부한다고
Right.
막 코딩 강의, 뭐 유튜브 이런 거 볼 때가 많거든요.
Mm-hmm.
근데 항상 그런 거 틀어놓으면 저도 모르게 핸드폰 켜서 다른 걸 봐요.
So are the things that you watch like not related to programming, or is it like you're seeing something and then you get curious about that and start doing research?
다른 거예요, 다른 거.
Just completely unrelated.
예.
Yeah.
그러니까 그런 식으로. 근데 그게 막 되게 자주 일어나서 거의 습관이 될 정도로.
Mm-hmm.
그래서 뭐 아예 막 핸드폰을 뭐 옷장에 넣어두거나 뭐 그래야 할
Right.
정도입니다.
Yeah.
예.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky. I think, like you said, that if it just happened, it's more likely to be a bad habit than a good habit.
예.
Yeah. Yeah.
아무튼 카트리나가 얘기해준 그 예는 꽤 복잡해서.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, is it complicated? I feel like it kind of happened in very small experiments and very small steps. So it didn't
네.
feel complicated at the time. But I guess in retrospect, explaining it is way more complicated than it feels.
그렇죠. 저 그
네.
말이었어요. 그 말이었어요.
네.
네. 아무튼 그래서 그러니까 제가 드는 느낌은 이 습관, 이 루틴 생긴 김에 이거에 맞춰서 더 좋은 습관을 딱 연결하는 느낌이거든요.
Right.
네, 그 AI랑 같이 아침에 딱 한국어 공부하는 김에
Right.
거기서 내가 물 자주 마시는 습관을 딱 같이 들이기도 하고,
Yeah.
예, 그리고 또 막 뭐 이메일 보거나 SNS 하는 그 안 좋은 습관을 막으면서 또 뭐 읽는 다른 습관을 또 만들고,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
그렇게 하는 거군요.
Yeah. So I feel like I don't know how other people do it. I haven't actually talked to a lot of people about this, but I feel like when I'm making a new habit, the key thing for me is that I'm super lazy. I'm very, very lazy. And so if
그래요?
I'm making the habit and it's hard, then I will try to find a way to make it easier.
네.
Because if I have to work hard at it, it's not going to become a habit. But if it's easy, then it probably will, or it's more likely to.
그게 여기서 또 질문 리스트 중에 있었던 그 디시플린.
Exactly. Willpower. and
그게
discipline.
필요한, 네, 의지가 필요한 습관 만들기.
Yeah.
그리고 그게 필요 없는 습관.
Yeah.
보통 필요 없는 습관이 나쁜 습관이 많긴 하잖아요.
Right. Well, I'm not
아닌가?
sure I agree with that. So I feel like my habit of getting up and studying in the morning, I had to be deliberate about starting it, but once it's started, it just keeps itself going. I don't need willpower to do it now.
아 근데 시작하는 게 좀 힘들지
Always.
않을까요?
Always
네.
takes willpower. Yeah.
그렇죠. 그 일단 자리에 앉아서 뭘 하면 어떻게든 되긴 되는데
Right.
그 자리까지 가는 게 좀 쉽지 않은 것 같아요.
Exactly.
네.
But I feel like that's a really good use of willpower. Like if you need willpower to do the thing every day, I think that's not a very well, in my opinion, I'm very opinionated about willpower because I'm so lazy. But anyway, if you have to use a lot of willpower every day to do a thing, I think, well, in my case, as soon as something changes, I'm going to stop doing the thing. Like anything in my environment, that habit, if I'm doing it really consistently for a long time, but I have to use willpower, it will take nothing at all to make it so that I just stop doing it.
그쵸. 아 그런 습관. 아 예를 들면 뭐가 있을까? 습관. 아 참 이 습관이라는 카테고리가 참 제 머릿속에서 정확하지 않아서 좀 어려운데.
So I have a lot of examples with like things that I eat and
네.
like something healthy that I consistently like I'll eat fruit consistently, but then I'll go visit my mom for a few weeks and I won't be eating fruit every day because I don't have the systems around it to buy it, to always have it ready. But at home I might eat fruit fairly consistently. Or like I'll have something the way that I eat, something healthy, usually something healthy
네.
about the way that I eat. And then I move to a different country or move to a different house. And suddenly it all kind of falls apart and I'm not eating that healthy thing anymore.
그거는 의지랑 진짜 상관없는 것 같네요.
Right. Yeah, it's more like the environment or the systems surrounding it.
아 하나 생각났어요.
Uh-huh.
제 경우에는 의지가 필요한 만들고 싶은 습관이 그 의자 그 이렇게 막 그 이런 거 안 하기.
Oh, you want to sit up straight?
네. 그러고 싶고 또 자주 그 책상 그 높이를 높여서 좀 일어서서 작업도 하고 싶고 항상 이러고 있고 싶지 않거든요.
Right.
근데 이미 이런 습관이 잡혀 있어서 그 막 제가 의지를 발휘하지 않으면 계속 이러고 있어요. 계속.
Yeah.
그래서 이걸 어떻게 고칠 수 있을까?
Right. Yeah, that's a super interesting question. Like when you already have the habit, and it's not like you can go sit somewhere else. I mean, you could, but like your apartment is probably not very big, so if you're going to do work, you're going to be at your desk.
맞아, 그 컴퓨터 앞에서 해야 되니까.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, how do you change your environment or change the system in such a way that it's more natural to sit the way you want to sit rather than the way you habitually sit.
그리고 제가 아까 헷갈렸던 이유 중에 하나가 이걸 습관이라고 해야 되는지 모르겠는데 그 의지를 발휘해서 무언가를 오랫동안 꾸준히 한 적이 있어요. 그 제가 올해까지 이 타자치기를요.
What is that?
타자치기, 키보드 타이핑 하는 거.
Okay.
이거를 그 키보드를 안 보고 못 쳤거든요.
Oh, really?
네.
But okay, that's super interesting. Okay, tell me more.
네, 그냥 전 평생 키보드를 보고 타자를 쳤었어요. 이렇게.
Right.
근데 저 프로그래밍 배우기 시작하면서 프로그래밍을 하려면 절대 키보드 보면서 타자 치는 건 할 수 없다.
Yeah.
이렇게 해선 절대 할 수 없다.
Right.
그렇게 생각이 들어서 아 맞다. 그래서 작년 12월부터 그랬어요. 작년 12월부터 그 표 만들어 놓고 30일 동안
Right.
매일 30분 무슨 일이 있어도 딱 그 한컴 타자 연습이라는 사이트 들어가서
Nice.
그 키보드 안 보고 타자 치는 거를 그렇게 했거든요.
Did it work?
네.
Good.
됐어요.
Yeah. And are you now ever tempted to look just because you had the habit before? Or is it easy to just type without looking?
진짜 가끔 키보드를
yeah.
보게 되는데
Yeah.
근데 그때는 뭐 그 칠 내용이 별로 없다거나
Mm-hmm.
아니면 뭐 비밀번호 클릭해야 될 때
Right.
그때는 좀 보고
Yeah.
근데 이제는 안 봐요.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think
근데-
it's also a habit, and so it's really interesting that you were able to break that habit. Like once you're able to type without looking, you're not really tempted to look while typing.
네.
Yeah.
그런 게 있습니다.
음.
카트리나의 경우는 뭐 없나요?
So for me, almost everything around habits, like making new habits, is deliberate. I definitely do feel like I have to use the willpower, do experiments, and as I'm doing the experiments, I pay very close attention. Like what made me fail? I think that's kind of an interesting question. So I used to feel like if I failed, I failed. I would make I would try to start a new habit, and then after 3 weeks it's not working, and I'd be like, oh, I failed.
네.
Whereas now I'll be like very focused on what can I try today and what does that teach me? Like what do I notice when I did it today? And so I'll pay a lot more attention to things that go wrong.
네.
And so my feeling is that I don't think about failure in the same way anymore. Like failure was just either I failed or I didn't. Whereas now my experiments are really small, and when something fails, it's just information. It's like, oh, this is something I'm going to have to experiment with or focus on to find a solution. And so my failures don't feel very bad anymore, I guess. I definitely have to spend energy and willpower actually focusing on the system that I'm trying to fix or the habit that I'm trying to make. But
네.
it doesn't feel like if I'm unable to make the habit, it doesn't feel like as big of a failure anymore because I know so much more about the details of what made it hard. And so I can
네.
take a step back and think, oh, do I really care enough to fix this? Or is it okay to just maybe do part of it? Or is it okay to, or do I want to spend the energy really figuring out how to deal with this thing that is making it hard? Because my goal is to make it easy. I want a system I can just show up every day and do the thing easily, but I'll spend quite a lot of energy
네.
to make a system that is easy to follow.
그렇구나. 그냥 생활 자체가 프로그래밍이 되어 있네요.
Yeah, basically.
그냥 프로그래머 그 자체네요.
Yeah.
모든 걸 프로그래밍처럼 접근을 하네.
This is maybe true. I do
네.
approach almost everything in my life as like a solvable problem that you can iterate on. You can do something and do a small experiment and then try again and then do another experiment and change it slowly, like little bit by little bit.
야, 씨, 와, 프로그래머, 와, 씨, 나도 프로그래머를 했었어야 되는데, 아,
Oh, you're on your way. Yeah.
아, 너무 어려워요. 아, 그렇구나.
Yeah.
그러면 아까 얘기했던 그 달리기를 내가 좋아했으면 좋겠다.
Mm-hmm.
그 지점으로 가봅시다.
Yeah.
그 달리기 하는 게 당연히 좋고,
Right.
아니 그러니까
Yeah.
달리기를 한다는 게 내가 기분이 좋은 게 아니라 달리기를 한다는 게 좋은 건데.
Oh, right. It's definitely a healthy thing. People should do it.
네, 하면
Yeah.
당연히 좋죠.
Yeah.
근데 왜 안 하고 싶을까요?
It hurts. Like everything about running hurts. My lungs hurt, my knees hurt. It's a pain in the butt. I don't want to. Nothing about it is pleasing to me. Like I don't feel good after running. I don't feel good during running either.
그래서 저도 달리기를 하지만
Yeah.
사실 솔직히 모르겠어요.
Interesting. So
이게
what is it
진짜
you're not sure of?
이게 제가 제가 가진 달리기에 대한 생각은 달리기 자체를 좋아해야 달리기를 오래 할 수 있을 것이다. 뭐 이런 생각을 하거든요. 그래서 예전에는 달리기를 하고 나면 꼭 달리기를 한 기록을 SNS에 올리고 뭐 그러면 이제 사람들이 막 좋아요를 클릭하고 그러면 뿌듯하니까 더 달릴 수 있을 거라고 생각이 들어서
Interesting.
네, 또 그렇게 하고 또 달리는 과정이 힘드니까 그 힘든 힘들고 고통스러운 거를 조금이라도 재미있게 하기 위해 뭐 달리기를 하는 동안 좋아하는 노래를 듣기도 하고.
Right. I don't listen to music ever anyway.
아,
So
그래요?
That
아니
wouldn't work for me.
남편분이 음악가
Yeah.
아니세요?
I don't hate music. I just never listen to it.
네, 아무튼.
Yeah.
그래서 그렇게 막 할 수 있는 그러니까 그 달리기에 대한 그 싫은 마음, 싫은 느낌을 줄이려고 온갖 걸 다 했었는데.
Right.
근데 어느 순간 달리기 자체가 좀 그래도 안 싫어졌어요.
Right.
그 당연해진 거죠.
Right.
근데 그래서 그 이후로 달리기 자체를 좋아해 보려고
Right.
SNS를 달리기 기록 올리는 SNS를 멈췄고.
Interesting. Yeah.
네, 내가 사람들의 좋아요를 받기 위해 달리는 건지 달리는 게 좋아서 달리는 건지 헷갈리더라고요.
Interesting.
네, 아무튼 그래서 그 SNS를 멈췄고.
Yeah.
그리고 이후에는 달리면서 노래를 듣는 것도 멈췄어요.
Wow. So you just listen to silence, like listen to your own thoughts now
네,
when
네.
you run?
그냥
Yeah.
달려요. 예.
Yeah.
아무것도 없이.
Yeah.
뭐 하늘 보고 뭐 풍경
Yeah.
보고
Yeah.
이렇게 달리고 생각하고.
Yeah. So you really did deliberately like deal with the discomfort of running first.
네.
Like listening to music.
그렇죠.
Using the people's approval on social media as sort of a motivation to get you
네.
out there and running. But then once running, like I guess maybe once your body habituated to running and you started getting like feeling good because you were running, then
네.
you didn't need all those things anymore, I guess.
뭐 맞아요.
Yeah.
아, 근데 이렇게 됐음에도 불구하고 달리는 게 막 그렇게 좋은가? 이런 생각이 들긴 해요. 이럼에도 불구하고.
Right. I mean, and then it's like, well, it's definitely good because it's healthy, but do you actually like it? I don't know. Do you?
그러니까 잘 모르겠어요, 사실.
Okay, so here's a question.
네.
Are you a runner? Are you a person who runs? Or is
네.
running just something that you sometimes do?
아, 저는 러너라고 생각해요.
Right. Yeah. I think that actually makes a big difference. Because I am definitely someone who, like, it's part of my identity that I'm learning Korean. And so I get up every day and do my study session, and it sort of reinforces this picture of who I am. And so
네.
it's easy for me to keep doing that because, of course, I get up and study Korean. I'm someone who studies Korean. I'm becoming eventually, maybe, hopefully, a Korean speaker, as Ian, your first guest, would say.
네, 네.
Yeah.
달리기. 근데 그 지점에서 또 한 번쯤 생각해 볼 만한 점은 한국 문화는 내가 러너다라는 생각을 좀 하기 어렵게 만드는 것 같아요.
Oh, interesting. What makes it difficult?
왜냐면은 달리기를 엄청 잘해야 내가 러너다라고 말할 수 있을 것 같거든요.
Oh, wow.
그래서
This is different.
한국에 제가 진짜까지는 아니고 좀 안 좋아하는 그 단어 같은 게 있는데 그 어린이의 린니를 막 여러 단어 여러 가지에 붙여 쓰는 경우가 있거든요.
Uh-huh.
그래서 어린이 내가 잘 못한다 이제 막 시작한 지 얼마 안 됐다
Right.
나는 아직 뭐 별거 아니다라는 그런 의미로
Right.
만약에 러닝에 붙이면 저는 런린이에요 이렇게 말하는 거예요.
Oh.
아니면은 뭐 헬스로 치면
Yeah.
저는 헬스하는 사람이 아니라 뭐 저는 헬린이에요 이렇게 말할 수 있는 거예요.
Yeah, I'm someone who started doing it, but I suck at it. Basically, I'm a noob. I'm a noob.
네,
we would say in English.
근데 그거를 한국의 그 온라인 조롱 문화와 그리고 그 비교 문화에서 이 극한에서 막 러닝을 엄청 잘하고
Right.
막 헬스를 많이 해서 막 몸이 엄청 좋고 막 이런 사람들이
Yeah.
막 나는 런린이에요. 뭐 나는 헬린이에요. 이렇게 하는 거예요.
Right.
그러면은 저런 사람들도 런린이라고 하는데
Then who am I?
난 뭐지? 뭐 이렇게
Yeah.
생각하기 엄청 쉽거든요.
Yeah.
근데 그럼에도 불구하고 제가 아까 저는 달리는 사람입니다라고 얘기한 건 제가 잘 달려서는 아니고
Right.
저는 그런 문화를 항상 의식하고 있고 그게 안 좋다고 생각하기 때문에
Yeah.
저는 그냥 소신껏 내가 뭐 아무리 못 달리든 그냥 제가 달리는 사람이라고 한 겁니다.
Yeah. But I can't remember who it was. I was reading some book about habits a few years ago, and they made an effort to talk about this thing about identity. Like, if you are able to make it so that this feels like you do it because it's who you are, it's easier to continue doing it. I'm someone who runs every day. I'm someone who studies Korean every day. I'm someone who likes eating vegetables, or I don't know, right? If it's part of your identity, it's easier to keep doing it, I think.
그렇죠. 그거는 한 번도 생각 안 해봤는데 일리가 있네요.
Yeah. Because I'm definitely not a runner. And so if I'm going to start running, it's something that I'm forcing myself to do, and I don't feel good about it. I don't feel like it's making me a better person. Like, I don't have the identity of being someone who runs. And so I'm sure I could change that, but it's not something that I've actually spent any effort changing.
근데 그렇게 생각하는 부분이 그 한편으로 그렇게 새로운 습관을 못 만들게 막을 수도 있겠네요.
Absolutely.
네.
Yeah.
저도 러너가 아니었는데 하다 보니 러너가 됐잖아요.
Right. Exactly. Like, I have a friend, a computer programmer friend of mine. She had never really exercised, and then something happened in her life, and she decided to start doing triathlons. So she started learning how to run, learning how to swim, learning how to ride a bike, and then became friends with lots of professional triathletes. And so she was training with professionals, and it became a part of her identity. She was someone. Like, she was a triathlete. She wasn't pro, but she was a triathlete. It was really part of her identity. And so she went from someone who had never really exercised to someone who not only exercised, but exercised hard and did really hard races.
네.
And so it's definitely something that I think this is why I say that I wish I wanted to run, because I'm not motivated enough to make myself do it. And so I'm not sure if I could find a path to want to enough to actually go do it.
네. 근데 그게 진짜 중요한 것 같아요.
And this is an interesting question. When you decide to make a new habit, do you do it because you think it's a good idea, or do you do it because other people expect it of you? Or is it both, or neither?
안 그래도 저도 그거에 대한 이야기를 하려고 했는데 그게 둘 다 있는 것 같아요.
Right.
예를 들어 제가 실패한 그 습관 만들기 중에 하나가 매일 피아노 연습을 하는 거였거든요.
Okay.
왜냐면 제가 너무 잘 하고 싶어서 그 습관을 가지고 싶어서 하려고 했는데 뭐 이런저런 이유 때문에 못했지만 결국엔 제가 진짜 하고 싶지 않아서였던 것 같아요.
Right.
근데 또 비슷한 맥락에서 운동도 좀 했다 안 했다 그렇게 반복을 했거든요.
Mm-hmm.
근데 얼마 전부터 운동을 엄청 꾸준히 하고 있어요, 제가.
Right.
그냥 달리기 말고 근력 운동.
Actual lifting weights, yeah.
근데 뭐 리프팅 웨이트는 아니고 칼리스테닉스?
Uh-huh. Okay. Cool.
맨몸 운동.
Yeah.
근데 뭐 그것도 하다 안 하다 했는데 지금 꾸준히 하고 있는데
Hmm.
이거를 하는 이유는 그 12월에 그 라오스로 그 친구들이랑 여행을 가기로 했거든요.
Mm-hmm.
그럼 이제 거기서 그 옷통 벗고 멋진 몸으로 다이빙을 하면
Yeah.
사람들이 저를 멋있게 볼 것 같아서
Right. I love it. Yeah.
그래서
I mean, it's a perfectly valid motivation.
예, 그래서
Yeah.
막 하기 싫은데 해야지 이런 생각도 없어요.
Right.
그냥 아무 생각 없이 그냥 해야 되는 거예요.
Right.
예, 그냥 그렇게 하는 것도 있고 또 아까 얘기했던 그 키보드 타자 연습도 안 하면 큰일 날 것 같아서
Yeah. Yeah. It would make it way harder to learn how to program. That's for
그러니까요.
Yeah.
그러니까 진짜 여러 가지 이유가 있는 것 같아요.
Yeah.
여러 가지 요인. 네.
Yeah. I think for me, the motivation has to be internal. Like the reason I've never fixed like my drinking water hydration habits, even though everybody says you have to drink 8 glasses of water a day or whatever, I was never really convinced, I think. And when I finally started looking into, no, well, what goes wrong when you don't get enough water? It's a lot of things. You don't sleep as well. You don't think as well. You don't like function as well. You're weaker. You get more tired in the afternoons. Like there's so many reasons. So suddenly I was motivated, but I had to know the reasons. I had to be like, oh no, okay, this is actually something I need to fix. It wasn't enough that experts were saying you should do it. And so experts are saying you should totally run. It's really healthy. And I'm like, it hurts and it's uncomfortable. I
네.
don't think I want to do that.
아 그쵸. 그러니까 남의 말이 안 들려요 잘.
No. Unless they're saying something that's perfectly reasonable and I can make up like a good logical explanation for why that totally makes sense and then I'll do it.
아 근데 그러니까 카트리나가 직접 그 물을 안 마시면 어떻게 되는지 알아보고 그 봤던 정보들이 근데 사실 다른 사람들이 했던 얘기들이랑 비슷하지 않았어요?
Totally, but I just wasn't listening. I wasn't taking it seriously. So I think it might have been like
네. 네
I think it
진짜
might have
좋은
been the
포인트야.
moment when I realized that if I don't drink enough water, I'm going to be dumber. I'm going to be stupider. Like my brain won't work as well. And I actually value my ability to think a lot. My ability to go, I don't know, if I'm tired in the afternoon, that's fine, whatever. If I can't walk as far or be as strong, it's okay. I never leave the house anyway, right?
네.
But like if I'm stupider because I'm not drinking enough water, that's important to me. That's really
그쵸.
important to me. And so I think that was the thing that changed. And so I started taking it seriously. Well, why don't I actually drink water during the day?
네.
Yeah.
아 맞아. 그 얘기 사실 그 얘기 제가 하려던 얘기였어요. 제가 까먹고 안 한 얘기예요. 네, 딱 그거랑 정확히 같은 맥락에서 제가 그 운동은 꾸준히 하고 있는데 피아노 연습은 멈췄다고 했잖아요.
Right.
그러니까 피아노는 쳐도 어디서 보여줄 수가 없어요.
Yeah.
피아노는 어디 라오스 가서 막 쳐도 어디 칠 곳도 없고.
Right.
그 중요하지 않은 거예요.
Yeah,
언제 쓸지 몰라요.
I can imagine that it would be hard in Korea to say I'm a pianist. I'm a
네.
piano player. Like you have to be really good before you're actually a piano player.
네, 그러니까 보여줄 곳도 없고
Right.
보여줄 기회도 없어요. 그냥 사실상 저 혼자만 좋아하는 거라 그냥 뭐 그게 없는데 그 이 몸 막 만들어서 막 다이빙 막 하는 거는 진짜 중요하잖아요. 그 쓸 때가 있잖아요.
Right. And so is there any way that you could find a similar type of motivation? Like, is there any type of situation where you could go and play piano and show off in some way? Or like be admired a little bit?
뭐 잘 찾아보면 있을 거예요.
Yeah.
뭐 한국에는 많이 없어요. 없는 것
Right.
같아요.
Yeah.
네. 네. 한국에는 많이 없고 그리고 또 그 계단이 좀 밟고 올라갈 만큼 좀 계단이 그 난이도가 있어야 잘 되어 있어야 되는데
Right.
그 피아노는 그 너무 높아서
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually in programming, I don't know if it's like this anymore, but a few years ago it was very common to hear people talk about people being like, if you're a good programmer, it's, you know how there's the curve, the normal curve?
네.
And so most people are sort of in the middle. You might be a little bit better than average, a little bit worse than average. But the way people were talking about it was like a reverse curve. Either you're super genius, 10x programmer, or you totally suck. And it was like, what about this middle part? Is nobody in the middle? Of course, most people are in the middle. But the way people talked about it was like, either you're a genius programmer or you suck. And there was a talk that I saw at a conference once where someone was like, hang on, I'm allowed to go run a marathon. And if I even finish the marathon, even if I'm one of the last people to finish, everybody's like, yay, you did it. So why can't I just be a perfectly average programmer and be respected for that? Why is nobody saying, oh, yay, you're a perfectly decent programmer. You have a job and you're living from it, like making a living from programming. Why is that so different? Why can't we be more like marathon runners who you don't have to be a professional. You don't have to be winning races and being paid to do it. You don't have to be in the top 0.5%. You can just run a marathon and that's amazing.
아, 그러면 그렇게 생각하면 뭐 어쨌든 어디서 어떻게 하든 피아노를 일단 연습해 두는 게 좋겠네요.
Yeah. Yeah, some sort of reason that makes you actually want to achieve it, I guess, more than just having achieved it.
그러니까요. 참. 그건 일단은 그 라오스에서 다이빙을 하고 나서 생각을 해보겠습니다.
Yeah, that's right. One thing at a time.
네.
Cool. Well, this was fun. Should we wrap it up? Do you think?
네, 1시간 넘게 얘기를 했으니까 네, 이쯤에서 얘기를 끝냅시다.
Yeah.
습관. 참 습관이라는 게 좀 모호하고 또 이것까지 습관의 범주에 들어갈까라고 헷갈리는 게 많아서.
Yeah, it's kind of a wide topic and people, I don't know, there's so many different pieces to it that it can be hard to pin down what exactly are we talking about.
네, 근데 또 저는 카트리나 얘기 들으면서 생각지 못했던 부분들을 많이 깨달아서.
I've thought a lot about how culture affects the habits that you choose to define for yourself, or the habits, like how does the culture that you live in make it hard to add a new habit? Like if the way that the culture that you're living in is disapproving of something, then it's going to be really hard probably to make that your own habit.
그렇죠.
I don't know. So I think a lot about how culture affects it. And I think it might be something I think about because I've moved between Norway and France and America. And especially America versus Europe, it's very different. Very different how people view being good at things or changing who you are or
근데 그럴 것 같아요. 맞아요. 문화 차이가 엄청 클 것 같아요.
Yeah, I think so.
그리고 맞다. 제가 얘기하려고 생각했다가 얘기 못한 게 하나 남아 있는데 사실 여러 개 남아 있을 수도 있는데
Yeah.
근데 어떤 얘기를 하려고 했냐면 저희가 아무래도 언어 팟캐스트지 않습니까?
Right.
네, 저는 지금 이렇게 영어를 알아듣긴 하지만 영어 이외에 제가 수많은 언어를 배워보려 했다가 실패한 경험이 아주 많습니다.
Oh, really? What languages have you tried and failed at?
시간 순으로 나열해 보자면 스웨덴어, 일본어, 에스페란토어 정도가 있습니다. 근데 처음에는 재밌었어요.
What was interesting about it?
어떤 외국어든 그냥 특이한 발음으로
Right.
막 이국적인 발음으로 막 단어를 얘기해보고 또 단어를 듣고 그리고 막 다른 문법으로 막 언어를 해본다는 것 자체가 재밌고 또 멋지다고 생각했는데 그래서 그거를 체계적으로 내가 습관으로 만들어서 꾸준히 공부해야지라고 생각해서 막 도움되는 유튜브 채널들을 막 구독해놓고 막
In what way were these YouTube channels going to help you? Were they about habits, like how to have good study habits, or was it about teaching you the actual language?
그 진짜 언어를 그 듣고 배우기 위한 거요.
Okay.
그런 것들을 막 추가해놓고 막 북마크 해두고 뭐 단어를 막 정리해두고 그렇게 한 순간부터 그게 일처럼 느껴져서 안 하게 되더라고요. 습관이 다 깨지더라고요.
Interesting.
그리고 심지어 이걸 습관으로 만들어야지라고 하는 생각 자체가 그 습관의 방해가 됐어요.
Right. That is super interesting. So the sort of the feeling that of the pressure of having to
네.
make it a habit
네.
was demotivating in and of itself.
네.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't actually study. I guess I don't study languages the way most people do because I don't memorize words. I don't read about grammar unless it's something that I've heard over and over again and I have a feeling about what it means, and then I'll ask ChatGPT or go look it up and say, "Oh, what does this actually mean?" And it'll be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. That's what it feels like it means." So I don't spend time, like my study habits are not very strict and they don't feel like work to me. I'm reading a novel in Korean
네.
right now and it's a really good novel. Like I want to know what happens. And so I'm motivated to get up in the morning and figure out, like read the next bit to figure out what happens.
그게 진짜 중요한 포인트 같아요.
I think so.
막 너무 부담감이 가지 않게 너무 푸시하지 말고
Yeah.
그러니까 일이나 공부처럼 안 느껴지게 유지하는 게
Yeah.
좋은 것 같습니다.
Yeah, because with languages, the most important thing isn't really what you do; it's that you keep doing it. Because eventually, you'll know enough that you can start connecting with native speakers. You can talk to people. You can watch, I don't know, fun shows or listen to podcasts or whatever. So it kind of doesn't matter how you study as long as you keep showing up. And so the question becomes, like, what can you do today that will make you want to come and do something again tomorrow? Right.
맞아요. 그렇게 꾸준히 하는 게 중요한데 근데 그게 진짜 쉬운 문제가 아닌 것 같아요.
No, I don't think so. And I think it's going to be different. Every
네.
single habit feels different. Like everything I try to do, it's like, oh, I made this new great habit. Now it's easy. No, it's not. The next habit is super hard and I fail. It's like, it's never easy. Everything is different.
네, 맞아요. 그리고 특히나 뭐 그냥 뭐 이렇게 그 바른 자세로 앉기, 뭐 다리 안 떨기, 뭐 이런 류의 습관이 아니라 뭐 어떤 거 공부하기, 어떤 거 배우기, 그런 습관은 사실 그 배우는 사람만의 문제가 아닐 수도 있다고 생각을 해서.
Yeah. It's like what are the habits that are more likely to keep you healthy? What are the habits that are more likely to make it so you have good relationships? Like I had a really bad habit before, and that was to tell everybody when I thought they were wrong. they said something that was even a little bit wrong, I'd be like, no, that's not right. That's factually incorrect. And
그래요?
I didn't know. I mean, it's part of, I don't know, I'm autistic. And so to me, facts were very important. I'm a little bit more able to relax about it now. But I used to, like, up until, I don't know, my mid-30s probably, I'd be very quick to tell someone that they were factually wrong. And it's not a very good habit. Like, it's not a very good way to make friends.
그렇죠. 그렇긴 하죠.
And so I spent time trying to learn how to not do it. And the way to not do it was to be able to relax and realize that it's not really important. It's okay. And also, I'm wrong most of the time anyway. Like, I can be so sure that I'm right and then, give it a year and I'll be like, oh yeah, I was such an idiot. No, everything I thought a year ago is wrong.
그렇죠. 예.
Yeah.
아니 제가 말한 그 의미는 그러니까 그 예를 들어 그 뭐 한국어 공부하는 습관을 그 가지고 싶은 사람들이 그 습관을 만드는 게 어렵다면 그거는 그 사람의 문제가 아닐 수도 있다는 겁니다.
Totally. Yeah.
네.
It's super complex. It has to do with what the habit you are trying to make is, and it's your environment, and it's your personality, and it's the culture that you live in. It's like there's so many different aspects to it. It's not your fault.
그래서 뭐 다들 좌절하지 않았으면 좋겠네요. 네. 그러면은 또 뭐 그럼 이쯤에서 진짜 마무리할까요?
Yeah, this time. Oh, and if like I love hearing stories about habits, like habits that people succeeded in making or habits that turned out to be really hard for an interesting reason. So if you have stories about habits, I'd love to hear them in the comments.
네. 그렇게 습관에 대해서 이야기거리가 좀 있으시면 제발 나눠주시고요. 그리고 생각보다 되게 다양한 나라에서 이 팟캐스트를 보고 있더라고요.
Yeah.
네, 그리고 또 가끔 댓글을 보면 막 한국인과 뭐 일본인 커플, 뭐 부부, 뭐 이런 분들도 계시고 그렇게 막 네, 다양한 환경, 다양한 문화의 구독자님들이 계시더라고요.
Yeah. Yeah, not just like individuals from different places, but the thing where you get a couple who is from two different places. Now you have the combination of those two cultures, and how do you navigate that? Super interesting.
네, 그렇죠. 그래서 그렇게 흥미로운 이야기들이 있으면 좀 나눠주시면 감사하겠습니다. 그러면 카트리나님은 다음 달에 또 나와주실 거고요. 네, 저는 다음 주에 또 유익하고 흥미로운 내용으로 돌아오겠습니다. 다음 주가 아니라 목요일이네요. 이번 주 목요일에 돌아오겠습니다. 찌푸와 함께. 네, 그러면 다음에 또 만나요.
Alright,
아니 잠시만.
Okay.
아니다. 그러면 지금까지 한국어 영어 반반 팟캐스트 하프앤하프의 정태웅이었습니다. 감사합니다.
And I'm Katrina, and you've been listening to Half and Half.